All right.
Let's rock and roll.
Episode 20. Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 20 of the vlog. All right, so today we are talking about learning and development trends. We're gonna go up and out, stand on the balcony, and take a look at the future of learning. This is one of my favorite topics. If you guys tune into the vlog, you know that several of our episodes are dedicated to the future of learning. That means bringing in trends that affect us as learning practitioners and starting to unpack them and unravel them and apply them specifically to our day-to-day so that we can continue to design and deliver great learning experiences. Let's get into it. All right, so last time this year, I took a look at the LinkedIn Workplace Learning Report. This is an annual report focused on trends in talent development and learning and development that are affecting us as practitioners the most. I think this is such a beautifully executed and well-designed report. They've come out with the 2018 edition, and I cannot wait to unpack this with you all and apply some practicality to it, because that's what we do here on the vlog on an episode by episode basis. It was really interesting to see some of the similarities between last year's learning trends and this year, and there definitely were some. But I wanted to focus this year on some of the differences and maybe where the industry's going, some of the trends that are emerging that might be a little bit new that we at Thoughtium are definitely paying attention to and bringing into the discussion with our clients. So let's dive right in. All right, so first and foremost, I want to point out, and this report does such a good job of spinning this in different ways, that the industry says that learning and development, and talent development specifically, continue to be a big priority. In fact, 94% of employees would say that they would stay with their current organization even longer if they had more opportunities to grow their career and learn in their roles specifically. So learning and development still is not going away. We're super happy to say that, but as well, there are still a lot of employees out there that want to continue to engage in different ways. And so the LinkedIn report takes a look at trends that allow us to understand how to engage our employees, how to retain our employees, and how to develop them as well. The first trend that I really wanted to take a look at, and the report does a good job of explaining the emergence of soft skills as a focus area for learning leaders. Now, this is different than last year. Every year they rank the importance of different opportunities within learning and talent development. And this year, the development of soft skills within our employees rated the #1 priority across all learning and development and talent development leaders. This says a lot because this was put above and beyond what we typically train on, which is technical skills. In my field, clinical knowledge and business acumen. Selling skills, all of the blocking and the tackling that we feel are the most important components to a learning and development program are no longer the #1 priority. It's building soft skills. And a few that the report mentioned, in fact, the top 3 are leadership, communication, and collaboration. Now, this isn't a surprise that leadership, collaboration, communication are very important in developing ourselves in any role. But what I've seen in the industry, and what I'd love to add to the insights of this report, are the emergence of some new soft skills that really focus on the way that we connect with ourselves and with our employees. And we're starting to see topics such as self-awareness, the ability to understand what lights us up and what makes us great. Or even empathy, the ability to connect with what makes our neighbors great and our coworkers and our colleagues work even more efficiently and more optimally. The ability to empathize, connect with others, the ability to understand what we're great at, self-awareness, I think are the 2 top soft skills. And it's super exciting to start to bring these into the mix when designing and developing these learning and development programs, as well as capability models. Why do we always have to go to the formal leadership, communication, strategy, collaboration? Those are all important. But what is more important, really, than a better understanding of us and a better understanding of our neighbors? We have an episode on bringing some of these soft skills in, including authenticity and empathy, and I will put a link to that above if you want to take a look. I had a great conversation with Kathy Ock, who is just an expert in these areas and bringing them into the workplace. The second trend we want to look at is the focus on reducing the friction of learning. This is what LinkedIn calls, our ability to meet learners on platforms that they're already existing on. And I absolutely love this trend. This is a little bit different than last year, where last year was all about attention and engagement. This year, it's all about reducing friction. How do we make the learning experience and the career and personal development experience the most fluid and the most easy to engage with and the most natural? And so the report talks about the fact that there are a lot of people, in fact, over half of the respondents in the report prefer to learn at what they call the point of need, which is essentially where the problem or the opportunity exists. And again, this isn't new. A lot of us love to learn on demand. We love to learn on the job, on the spot. The report talks about how this really should cause us to think about putting more eggs in the virtual basket, putting more of our resources in on-demand training online. And I 100% agree with that. That's a tactic that has held true over the course of the last several years, and it's not going to change. The ability to build robust catalogs of immersive and dynamic digital content are the way. It's the way we learn every day. I would also argue that reducing friction doesn't simply mean creating content that's on demand. I think reducing friction, you can start to think about really making the overall progression of learning a lot more seamless. And that means taking a look at all of our learning assets and making connections between initial training and a regular touch point that we have with folks in the field and learning modules that we're putting online. How do we create a more seamless experience for our learners so that friction doesn't have to occur? So that learning is not an event-based experience or even an a la carte experience where I have to pull something down at the last minute to learn. So the ability to create a progressive and holistic approach to our learning programs is something that really fits in with this trend of reducing friction. I think it's such a great concept for us to take a look at our programs and say, how do we reduce barriers? How do we make the touch points that we have with our learners even more seamless? One of the ways that we've really been doing that with a lot of our clients is introducing peer-to-peer learning. Introducing the concept of, as we learn as employees, providing platforms and tools for people to teach back and communicate to their peers what they're learning. That not only helps build our database of learning assets, but it also continues to reduce friction in that not everybody has to then go to a central team in learning and development to learn the good word. They can go to their neighbors. And so peer-to-peer learning, I think, fits really well as a tactical execution against this trend of reducing friction in the learning and development space. And the third and final trend that we want to focus on in the 2018 Workplace Learning Report is the ability to amplify relationships with managers. And to no surprise, this is actually one of the trends that was pulled over from 2017. That remained an extremely hot topic from last year to this year, and I'm so glad that it remains at the forefront of the trends in our space today. The ability to ignite and establish relationships with our managers in the field is so important. And it's something that we make sure that we focus on with our clients. And we encourage our clients not just to have the discussion and the philosophy that we have strong relationships with our managers, but we work with our clients to establish formal field manager partnership programs. This is the ability for you as talent and learning leaders to provide tools and frameworks for our managers to have learning and development discussions in the field. And this is on top of their coaching discussions, two totally different discussions. So we want to amplify these relationships, but in order to do that, we need to provide the tools and the frameworks for managers to have these discussions. Now, the learning report talks about the data that shows that 56% of employees in the report would say that they would engage in learning and development more if there were courses that were being prescribed by their managers. I thought this was really interesting. A very specific statistic about managers specifically assigning courses to their employees. I think that's important, right? Because oftentimes, even as learning practitioners, we maybe don't have the influence or the direct impact on a mentorship level with our employees as our managers do. So the ability for managers to pull from a course content or a course library is one great idea. I also think really empowering the managers to have broader discussions with their employees beyond just assigning coursework or learning paths is really important. And teaching our managers to enable our employees to self-identify opportunities. And who's more closer to that than their managers in terms of opportunities, whether it's in the field or for their career development? Managers should enable their folks to self-identify opportunities, and then they should call on us as learning and talent development leaders to build resources around those opportunities so that they can be the spark or the ignition for a self-identified opportunity, and we can be the conduit for the learning and development assets needed to really go after that opportunity. So one of the things that we bake into our formal manager partnership programs are tools and frameworks for managers to sit down with their reps and co-design learning paths based on specific opportunities that that employee has, whether that be in the field or in their career. Those tools really enable and empower our managers to be more than just operational leaders and people leaders. They're now an extension of the learning and talent development teams. You know, there are many ways that we can step up and out of our vertical functions and even our day-to-day to help us understand what's coming. And the concept of the future of learning really lights me up because it challenges me on a regular basis to understand these trends and to take them and apply them on a practical basis to designing and delivering great learning experiences. Because as practitioners, that's what we live and breathe. The 2018 Workplace Learning Report done by LinkedIn, I think, is a great example of one of many resources out there that help you challenge the status quo, that enable you to create the space for these types of discussions with your team. I know that it's challenged us at Thoughtium to think a little differently about the way that we approach our clients, the way that we build content and put a perspective out there. And we hope that this vlog, particularly this episode, really encourages you guys to start the discussion on how you can bring some of these trends into your team. We hope to continue to provide this value to you all on an episode by episode basis. Have a great week.